There are some images you don't realize you're collecting until it's too late to take another one. The tilt of a head when they laughed. The way their mouth pulled more to one side when they were trying not to laugh. The small crease at the corner of their eyes when they looked at you instead of at anyone else. You didn't know you were memorizing it. You didn't know one day you would sit in a room lit by Christmas lights and think, with a shock that feels physical, I will never see that smile again. People talk a lot about missing someone's voice, their hugs, their presence. But the smile is something else. It's the moment their whole face became them. The expression that said, I'm here and I'm feeling this, with you. That's what you lost. Not just teeth, lips, a flash of expression, but the living proof that their inner world had just collided with yours and turned into light. At Christmas, when everyone is taking photos, saying smile, pointing cameras at each other, the absence of their smile feels like a missing color in the room. Other faces light up, other mouths curl, other eyes crinkle, but the one you're looking for doesn't. You scan group photos and your brain plays a cruel trick. For half a second, it thinks, where are they standing? Then, just as quickly, it remembers. They're not. They can't. You scroll through old pictures, trying to find that smile, the one that holds their whole personality. There are laughing smiles, polite smiles, tired smiles, mischievous half smiles, but none of them are new. Every image you have of their smile is a past tense trapped in pixels or ink. No camera is pointed at them this year. No one will catch them mid-laugh. No new memory of their face will be made under these lights. Psychologically, humans are wired to read faces. We scan them automatically for safety, threat, love, rejection. Their smile used to be a signal that everything, for a moment, was okay. That you belonged, that you mattered to them in a way they didn't show to everyone. Now your mind keeps searching for that signal and finds a gap. It feels like trying to tune into a radio station that no longer exists. Static where there used to be music. You might remember specific smiles in painful detail. The forced smile in the hospital when they didn't want you to worry. The exhausted smile at the end of a long day. The way they smiled when they saw you arrive unexpectedly. The small, private smile they gave only you across a crowded room. There is probably one smile that haunts you more than the others. The last one. Maybe you didn't know it was the last. You thought there would be more. Next week, next month, next Christmas. You filed that moment away as just another one, in an endless series. Only later did you realize that was it. That was the final time their face would arrange itself like that in your direction, in this lifetime. Or maybe you did know it might be the last. Maybe you tried to memorize it in real time. You stared a little too long. You tried to burn it into your mind. You thought, I need to remember this. I need to remember this. And still, now, when you try to recall it, some parts are blurry. You might panic. Why can't I see it perfectly? What if I'm forgetting them? Your brain holds strange priorities. It can replay the moment you got the bad news in crystal clarity, but goes fuzzy when you try to see their face exactly as it was on a random morning years ago. That feels cruel. It feels like betrayal by your own memory. In old Christmas photos, their smile is frozen. You can see the way they leaned in, the way they held a glass or a plate, the way their eyes were either looking straight at the lens or sideways at someone else. But that smile isn't alive. It doesn't move into the next second. It doesn't respond to a joke, to your voice, to anything happening now. So you sit there with an archive when what you want is the live feed. Psychology sometimes calls what you're feeling longing, sometimes yearning, but those words are too small. It's not just that you miss them. It's that your nervous system keeps sending out a signal. Show me that you're okay by smiling, and the universe doesn't answer back. At Christmas, smiles are everywhere. On ads, cards, films, social media. Parents smiling at kids. Partners smiling at each other as they exchange gifts. clusters of friends smiling at phones as they take selfies. You might feel out of sync with all of it. You can put your smile on too. You've learned how. You know how to lift the corners of your mouth when people look at you. You know how to laugh at stories. You know how to show your teeth in group photos so nobody asks if you're okay. But inside, you are thinking, the smile I need to see is gone. The person who made me smile like that is gone. There is a specific expression you used to have just for them. The way your face softened when they walked into the room. The way your smile widened when they made a particular joke. The way your eyes brightened automatically when their name popped up on your phone. Part of grieving them is also grieving the version of you that only existed in response to them. Nobody else will ever pull that exact smile from you again. Different people will bring out different expressions, different warmth, but that specific combination of you and them is finished. That's a quiet, sharp loss that people don't talk about. Sometimes, the grief around their smile isn't just about death. It can also be about someone who is technically still alive, but mentally or emotionally gone. Dementia, depression, trauma, addiction, illness. Sometimes these things steal someone's smile long before their heart stops beating. You sit across from them and search their face, wondering, where did you go? Where's the person who used to look at me like they saw me? They might still move their mouth in a shape that others would call a smile. But the light behind it, the recognition, the I know you, I remember you, I'm glad you're here, is dimmed or missing. You grieve in advance. You know that even if their body stays, the smile you loved won't come back in the way it once was. That can make Christmas excruciating, because older photos show their full smile, bright and present. Newer ones, if you take them at all, show a stranger with a familiar face. You scroll through the past and think, there, that's them, right there. That's the smile, that's the person I miss. So what do you do with a loss like this? You can't take new photos. You can't ask them to do that face again like you could when they were alive and in a playful mood. You can't walk into a room and wait for them to look up and light up at the sight of you. You're left with a mixture of scraps and aching imagination. One temptation is to replay their smile endlessly in your mind, trying to keep it alive by force. You close your eyes and conjure up their face. You picture the way their cheeks lifted, the way their eyes changed shape. You imagine what they would look like smiling at you now if they could see this moment, this tree, this table, this version of you. Sometimes that brings comfort. Sometimes it just makes the hole wider. Another temptation is to avoid their smile altogether. You stop looking at photos because it hurts too much. You skip scenes in movies where someone looks like them. You change the subject when someone mentions a memory that involved their laughter. You try not to think about it, but absence has a way of thinking about you. The slightest trigger, a joke they would have loved, a song that used to make them grin, a smell that always made them smile and say, "Do you remember when?" can bring it all back. You are not weak for being undone by something as small as a smile. A smile is not small. It is the outward sign of an inward moment. It's an expression that says, silently, for this second, I am okay enough to show you my warmth. Losing access to that moment forever is not trivial. There's a strange fear beneath your grief. What if I forget it? What if one day I can't see their face properly in my mind? What if all I have left is a vague outline? You might test yourself. Which side did their mouth tilt more? How many wrinkles appeared at the corner of their eyes? Did their nose scrunch when they laughed or not? If you can't answer quickly, panic rises. It feels like losing them all over again. But memory doesn't work like a perfectly filed photo archive. It's more like a painting that shifts over time. Details fade, others sharpen. Sometimes you remember their expression more in your body than in your mind's eye, the feeling you had when they smiled at you, more than the exact visual. That feeling matters because beneath the shape of their smile is the emotional message it carried. You are seen. You're funny. I'm glad you're here. I love you. This is our shared joke. This moment, right now, is good. You may never again see the exact set of muscles move on their face, but the way that movement made you feel has already woven itself into who you are. The way you smile at others has pieces of them in it. The way you light up when someone you love walks into a room, the way you grin when you tease someone in their style, the way your face softens when you're proud of someone, the way you catch yourself giving their smile to a child, a friend, a stranger. They taught your body what warmth looks like on a face. So part of them is there every time you do it. At Christmas, if you can bear it, you might choose to honor that. You might look at a photo you love of their smile and let yourself feel everything it brings up: love, sadness, anger, gratitude. You might say softly, "I miss this more than I know how to say." You might tell a story at the table about a time when that smile appeared. Do you remember how they used to smirk when the pudding caught fire? Do you remember the way they smiled when they opened truly awful gifts and pretended they loved them? Do you remember the way they grinned at the dog like the dog was a person? In doing that, you are not torturing yourself for the sake of it. You are refusing to let their face vanish from the shared story. It will still hurt. There's no way around that. You might cry. Your voice might shake. People might go quiet. But pain and remembering are not the same as breaking yourself on purpose. Sometimes they are simply the cost of keeping a love real. There's also room for gentler rituals. You could keep one photo where their smile feels most like them in a place you can see, not as a shrine to your suffering, but as a quiet point of connection. You can talk to it if you want, or not. You can just let it be there, a reminder that this person existed, that they smiled that way, that once in a world you actually lived in, that face turned toward you with warmth. On days when it's too much, you can turn it face down. That doesn't mean you're forgetting. It means you are taking a breath. Grief is a long, uneven task of learning when to look and when to rest your eyes. There might also come a time, you may not be there yet, when you smile about them more than you cry. You'll see something ridiculous and think, they would have loved this, and your mouth will curve up before the tears come. You'll hear a joke they would have told and find yourself laughing in their exact rhythm. You'll catch yourself in a mirror and for a flicker, see their expression on your own face. That moment might ache, but it might also feel like a gift, because the smile you'll never see again on them did not vanish completely. It scattered. It left traces in your habits, in your reactions, and the way you warm when you remember them, in the way you treat other people. It's okay if you're not in that softer place yet. Maybe right now, all you can feel is the blunt fact. They're gone. I want them here. I want that face. In this room, this year. You are allowed to want that, even though it's impossible. You are allowed to sit in front of a Christmas tree and not care about the lights, because you're thinking about the way those lights looked reflected in their eyes. You're allowed to feel like every other smile in the room is a poor substitute. No one else's joy cancels your grief. But when you can, even for a second, you might try something small. When someone you care about smiles at you this Christmas, really look. See the particular shape of their face. Notice how their eyes change. Notice what that expression makes you feel. You don't do this to replace the smile you lost. You do it to remind yourself that this language, this human way of saying, "I'm okay, and I'm glad you exist," still exists in the world. You lost one dialect of it, a unique, unrepeatable one. That will always hurt, but your capacity to give and receive that light is not buried with them. The smile you'll never see again is a real, irreplaceable loss. It is okay if that thought hits you like a wave, especially at Christmas, especially when you see photos of perfect families and think our perfect is missing someone. Just remember gently, when you can, you carry them in more than memory. You carry them in the way your heart softens at warmth, in the way you show up for others, in the way you smile, even through tears, when you say their name. Their smile will never appear on a new face again, but the effect of that smile, the way it taught you to recognize love, to trust certain moments, to feel chosen, still lives in you. And even on the days when you can't bear to look at old photos, the fact that you miss them this much is proof of something quietly beautiful. You were loved by someone whose face could light up at the sight of you. That light is gone in one form. In another, it has already changed you forever.